First off, I want to thank the brave men and women who work behind the wall. I want to thank them on a national level because their job goes unrecognized.
How do they try to turn a guard?
Well, correctional officer. Sorry, I apologize. But correctional officer.
How you guys doing today? It's Anthony Gangi, host of Tier Talk. A very tough question came my way through the comments on one of my YouTube videos. Question is, Gange, how do you tell your loved ones that you're going back to work after you've been assaulted by an inmate? How do you help alleviate some of that stress? And that is a hard question, and it got me thinking. And this is where I'm actually going to go to you guys as well, my experts, my experienced individuals, because I want your thoughts on this, because I'm sure there are some that follow this channel who have gone through this, who've had to sit there and tell their loved ones, hey, I got to go back to work. I think this video is needed. I didn't want to just answer the question. I wanted to make a video on this because, again, just like I mentioned, a lot of people, I'm sure, have gone through this or are in the process of going through it. So I thought this was a topic that was definitely worth covering. Great question. So when I get back from my sponsor, we're going to discuss how do you tell your loved one you're going back to work after you've been assaulted by an inmate. All right, guys, so if you haven't, the show Tier Talk's for you. Brave men and women that work that front line in correction. So please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. I stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Thank you guys for listening to my sponsor. This is a very tough question to answer. You know, you have to really sit back and think. Now, I've never been assaulted, so I won't know how it feels to have to go and tell your loved one after you've been assaulted that I'm going back to work, because I'm sure the impact on your loved ones at that point is greater, because now they know it can happen. Now it's evident. You know, I let my family know of the dangers of this profession, so they know it's there, they know it exists, but it hasn't happened to me. But I'm also honest with my family since day one. As I mentioned, I tell them about the dangers of this profession, because I feel it's my family that if, God forbid, something was to happen to me, they would continue the fight. I mean, you see it in Delaware with the wife of Lieutenant Stephen Floyd, Sandra Floyd. She's involved with a lot of changes behind the scenes that are happening in Delaware. And you also see it in North Carolina with the mother of Megan Callahan, Wendy Callahan, who's leading a lot of positive changes for North Carolina. So I think one thing is that you have to let your family know right at the get-go the type of profession that you're entering. You know, my father wasn't a fan of me entering this profession. He became one, but he wasn't a fan of me entering this profession. I can tell you that right now. And the only thing I could do at that time was, when my father was hesitant about me joining this profession, the only thing I could do at that time was to let my father know of my purpose in this profession. Yeah, I know there's dangers, Dad, but this is my purpose. This is what the profession's about. It's a greater good. And my dad, being a military man, understood that. But also at that time, I needed a career. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have a house. And this profession gave me the opportunity to have that. So there was a balance there. I don't sugarcoat the profession. As I said, I let my family know if there's dangers, there's dangers. It is what it is. You know, so I don't sugarcoat it. They know. They know of what can happen. But when you go to tell a loved one that you're going back to work after being assaulted, and again, I'm hoping that people with experience can share their thoughts on this, because I think it's a very powerful question. I don't think there's a universal answer. I don't think there's nothing that you can say that's going to alleviate the stress that a loved one's going to have about you going back into a profession where you were just assaulted, where you were almost taken away from them. Because you have to realize something, and this isn't my opinion. Your loved one, they're never going to be comfortable with the dangers of this profession. You swore your life to them. And it's tough for them to see that you're willing to give your life to something else. And that may be how they see it. But I don't think any loved one is ever going to be okay with the dangers of this profession and just allowing you to go back in it. But they do it. Same thing with the military, same thing with police, with fire, with any first responder profession. But they do it because they know it comes with the territory, if you will. The difference here is it's no longer a possibility, it's evident. You have been assaulted. So there's a tremendous impact. I think the best that you can do at this point is listen to your loved one's concerns. And again, they should be real concerns because you've been honest with your loved one about the dangers of this profession. You haven't sugarcoated anything. So these concerns are real concerns. And you have that discussion. And if you're a loved one and you're watching this, I also want you to remember that the one that's going back into the profession after being assaulted, they're scared. They're nervous. Both because they're going back into a world where they're vulnerable now, and they know it for a fact. It's a tremendous wake-up call, I'll tell you that right now. But also the added stress of the family who may not be in support of that decision. And now this person may be forced to go back because they need to provide for their family. So we also need to do what we can for them as well, to ease them back into that transition. Because they need to have their mind on the job, on their profession. And with the added stress from home, they may not be able to think 100% about what's going on in the world that they're working in. And that's not good. That makes them more vulnerable, if you will. So I definitely think by the end of the day, this is a conversation that the family has to sit down and have before the loved one goes back to work. They have to have this conversation. They have to address concerns. They have to realize there's not going to be an answer. There's not going to be an answer. There's just no universal answer. But we have to find a way to work through it. And that means there's going to have to be a compromise from both ends. Both parties, or all parties involved. And that's my thought. Guys, I would love your thought. If you went through this, what did you do? How did you talk to your family? How were you able to move forward? As always, guys, the show is Tear Talk. Great question. Thanks for asking it. I never covered this before, so definitely a needed question. Guys, remember, Tear Talk's for you brave men and women that work that front line of correction. So if you haven't, please subscribe, interact, engage, comment, hit that bell. That bell's going to notify you every time I post up a video. All right, guys, stay safe.